Hey there, how's it going, guys and gals? Today is going to be my skill day training video. Um, I have a friend who I go to pharmacy school with, shout out Corey. Um, he was asking me about my workout, and I've been, helping him out as I can. And he was asking me, I talked to him yesterday, he asked me about skill day. He's like, hey man, what is skill day? He's like, I understand you do push, pull, legs, and core, but what exactly is skill day? And I feel like, probably a lot of other people wonder the same thing if they haven't seen the videos and, they just take a glance at my content. Skill day is where you train the skills. You got to think about what is a working set, because that is something I talk about a lot as well. A working set is where you are trying to do an exercise that you can hit for numerous reps with the idea of causing muscle fatigue and breaking down muscle fibers so that your body builds them back stronger next time. That is the goal of a working exercise, and you do working sets with the working exercise. But that's not skills, right? Skill training is where you are not trying to cause muscle fatigue or muscle breakdown. I'm sure you do very subtly break down the muscle fibers, because a lot of the skills require extreme levels of strength. But we're just doing like one rep on most things. Some of the easier things, like muscle ups, if once you get good enough at those, you can knock out, a mini set of maybe like 2 to 3 reps. But still, we're not necessarily trying to break down the muscle fibers. We're not necessarily trying to cause muscle fatigue. That is the purpose of the working sets. Anytime you do skill training, skills are skills for a reason. They require lots of thought, they require lots of technique, and you need to keep that in mind. You should never make the mistake that I made as a younger person and try to make skill training part of the working sets. You got to have I'm not sure how to word it, but you got to have that line drawn in your training regimen and in your training days as well, where like say on push day, like right now on my push days, for example, I am trying handstand press, planche, handstand push-up, and probably just some freestanding handstand as well. Those are my skills I'm training. I give each of those 1 to 2 attempts, and that's where I stop training them. It doesn't matter how good or how bad I do at those skills. If you don't do good, you try to learn something from what you did and come back and try it again next time. Do not keep trying to hit the handstand or any other skill for that matter. Like you got to take what you can get, but don't overdo it. That's the point of the working exercises. Skill practice, the point is just to practice the techniques. It's mainly a day where we're training our brains, we're training our mind and our nervous system, like our central nervous system, the peripheral nerves that connect from our brains to our muscles. We're trying to learn the techniques of these various skills, and we're trying to teach our bodies slowly over time through easier progressions that build in difficulty what each skill should feel like. That's the point of a skill day, and that's also the point of skill training on a strength training day. And I don't want to cause confusion when I say that, but like I gave the example I gave earlier, on push day, for example, I'll do my warm-up, and then when my warm-up is over, I will train, like I said, the press to handstand or handstand press, planche, handstand push-up, and probably a freestanding handstand. I have hit, one arm pull-up as well, or I'm sorry, one arm push-up as well, as a skill as well. But once I get through those skills, and again, just 1 to 2 attempts on each, we're not trying to cause muscle fatigue with skill training. Just 1 to 2 attempts of each, and when you get through that, that is when you can start your working exercises or your working sets. You have 2 to 3 working exercises, and for each exercise, you have 2 working sets. Hence the 2-set method. Anyways, here I'm demonstrating how to get a semi-false grip, which is kind of a little life hack, a workout hack, calisthenics hack, how to greatly increase your strength, because it shortens the lever of your arm. It gives you about a 2 to 3 inch advantage. Like take these one-arm pull-ups, for example. See how I'm only going to about 90 degrees of elbow flexion, but I was still about eye level with the bar, because I have my wrist flexed like that. Another good thing about this workout hack is it not only makes your strength go up because it shortens the lever, it also will help you grow some killer forearms, because it takes a lot of forearm strength to hold yourself like that. Showing that again. But anyways, I was talking about what skill day is and what a regular strength training day is. On skill day, there's no working sets. There's like my goal today with this entire workout is not necessarily to try and cause muscle fatigue. I'm sure I will cause some muscle fatigue, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying just to practice these techniques. Like, see how I'm only hitting just a few seconds of these holds, for example, these 90-degree lock-offs. I'm not holding them as long as I possibly can, because it would break down, those muscle fibers to a significant level, and that would cause muscle fatigue, and that would take a lot of my strength away that I would need to practice the next skill, like this handstand press, for example. Just some various thoughts to keep in mind when you see me say things or write things, like working exercise, working set, strength training day, skill practice, skill training. When you see those things, that's what I'm talking about. And remember, like I said, it's very important, especially early on in your training career, to recognize that there needs to be a clear, defined difference between the way you practice your skills and the way you try to build muscle and increase your muscle strength. Working sets, working exercises, those you're trying to do hypertrophy. Like I said, you're trying to break down the muscle fibers so that your body builds it back stronger next time. And you do so by trying to have explosive positive movements, 0 to 1 seconds time estimate. And then you try to have a slow-ish, sort of slow, very controlled. You should always try to be controlled, but especially on the negative parts of the movement, you should be going very controlled and somewhat slow, probably about 2 to 3 seconds to complete each negative movement for almost every exercise, for almost every rep, for every working exercise. Compare that to how your reps or your attempts should be on skill practice. See here how I'm only hitting 1 attempt of this flag on each side. That was a pretty good rep for my current strength level, my current calisthenics level as well. But see how I'm only hitting one attempt on each side for this skill. I'm not trying to rep this out, and I'm also not trying to explode into this movement. I'm trying to go into them pretty slow. I know I had to kind of kick up there, but I kick up to the top of the lever, and then I come down really slowly or as slow as my strength will allow me before I lose it. All your skill practice, what I'm trying to say is always do a slow positive and a slow negative, and just work on extreme levels of control. And that's going to be nice to your joints because you're not putting such a sudden amount of pressure on your joints and your connective tissues. And that is also going to allow you to really think about what you're doing and think about the techniques that you're going to need, and make sure you know that you're engaging the proper muscles that are relevant to each skill that you're training. And something else, like I spoke about on the core day video, it actually takes a lot more strength to do something slowly. So even if you're doing an easier exercise, an easier progression, if you do it really slowly, it takes a lot more effort from your muscles to maintain that contraction, even if it's less contraction, but you're maintaining it for a longer amount of time. Also, this full body weight ring muscle up actually felt pretty good today. I've been struggling with a lot of tendonitis in my left elbow, but things are starting to feel better. I definitely still have to trade cautiously, and I definitely still can't get back to the slow muscle up practice. But I'm going to be working these regular muscle ups, trying to clean up my form and get rid of that chicken wing for quite a while until my elbow wants to cooperate. But anyways, doing things slowly requires a lot more strength. It asks a lot more of your muscles. It's nicer to your joints, and it gives you time to think about what you're doing. So always do any skills that you're training with a slow positive movement, slow negative, the highest levels of control that you can possibly manage. Very different from that explosive positive and that slow-ish negative of a working set. Anyways, I will quit rambling, but that is the difference in skill practice or a skill day and a strength training day and working sets. Those are some key differences there to recognize. We're trying to, there's kind of a lot of volume today on skill day, but like I was talking about, we're trying to keep the muscle fatigue down by only hitting 1 to 2 attempts of each thing that we're trying, and we're not trying to hold stuff for too long either. Here I'm trying something new. You got to throw yourself curveballs. Say an extra prayer because I haven't really tried this before. I'm going to try a full handstand and possibly even handstand push-ups on this bench. And I was thinking the best way to get into that is press to handstand, and it probably is. But at this point in the day, I did not have the strength to do a handstand press. So I recognized I was going to have to kick up into this handstand. And, this is a great example, even though you see me failing, this is a great example of how you try a new skill. Like, don't try to overcommit. Just kind of pick an easier progression. Here I'm just trying some kick-ups, and I'm getting the feel for how I need to try and engage this handstand on top of the bench. I'm feeling where my weight needs to be placed, and what I was recognizing was that my weight needed to go forward more. So I shifted my weight forward a little bit, and look at that. I was able to get the handstand, and I think I was able to hit a negative handstand push-up there. Didn't quite have the strength left, to push back up out of that negative, but that's okay. And here I think I tried this again, where that first clip of this was not very successful, but there is a handstand. Now I felt pretty awesome up there on top of the bench doing that. I felt like I was really doing something, and I guess I was, because I haven't ever tried that before. But you can apply that to any skill that you're training. It's always good to add some variation. Don't always do things the exact same way. You gotta surprise your body, because like I always talk about, we are adaptation machines, and if you always do things the same way, you're gonna hit plateaus. And the way out of that, is to throw in those variables. It helps not only your body, it helps your mind as well, because there's just more things for us to think about. It's only going to lead to further development of the skills that we are practicing. Almost died there. Thankfully, everything went good. That's why we say our prayers, or at least that's why I say my prayers. I tried to do a bar hop over with direction change, and I'm not sure what happened. I think I lost my grip or something, and but thankfully, I did fall. I did fall, obviously, but thankfully when I fell, I just fell straight to my feet, and I didn't twist my knee, didn't twist an ankle, didn't land on my head. Everything was good, so very thankful for that. There I tried it again, and thankfully I did not bang my shin into the bar. Somehow I managed to hit my shoe on top of the bar, like the bottom of my shoe. But you really have to send it when you try those bar hop overs, because if you don't, you're going to bang something. Thankfully today I did not bang the shin. I may try purposely banging the shoe next time, because that's a lot more comfortable than the shin, and it also could be a good building block, a good step in the progression of that bar hop over direction change to tap the shoe and then go on with the rest of the movement. Anyways, we had a great training day. We didn't get hurt. It was looking a little rainy and stormy, but thankfully, that held off as well, long enough for me to finish my workout. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. Take care and happy training, guys and gals. Bye-bye.